Tell me, do you bleed? To be honest, that's more of a question that I'd have for Wonder Woman. I mean, do Amazon still get their period or what? Oh, and spoilers. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Hayes. I talk movies all day, so subscribe right now if you want to be entertained. And today, I want to talk about Justice League. Why is this film trash? Now here's how this works. I'm going to go through the movie, point out all the dumb things about it, and then I'm going to see if I can find any redeeming features, like maybe, just maybe, this film might be better than people give it credit for. Maybe. But before that, I ain't seen all the DCEU movies, I ain't trying to reference all the DCEU movies, or the comics, or the video games, don't nobody got time for that. Alright, so Justice League starts off with what is probably the worst and most expensive shaven advert ever. For real, they should have left the moustache in there and just say he was auditioning for a 70s porn movie. Superman comes faster than a speeding bullet. We then get the most pointless robbery scene because Batman needs to catch a Batman-looking bug, so he hangs a man over the ledge of a building because the bugs are attracted to fear, so effectively, Batman is putting another man's life in danger for a high school science experiment. Batman is kind of an arsehole in this. Anyway, he catches the fear bug, but it explodes, and then the thief asks, "What was that?" And I'm asking, why are you still here? Like, what makes you think Batman is your friend now? This guy just held you over the ledge of a building for shits and giggles and now you want to be all buddy-buddy with him? But apparently they are friends now because they start having a conversation like Batman didn't just hold you over the ledge of a building a minute ago. Now the thief is like, oh, it's because Superman's gone. Where does that leave us? Yo, this guy was literally just firing a gun at Batman after robbing a place, and now he's trying to act like some innocent guy that got in over his head after he lost his job and his wife left him and he had to pay his daughter's medical bills, so he started robbing people to make ends meet. And you know, maybe that's all in the Snyder cut, but in this cut, it's like, dude, shut up, run while you can. This version of Batman kills people and is best friends with Jason Bourne. Why are you still here? Anyway, now we get reminded that Superman got deaded in the last movie, but come on, did anybody really think Superman was gonna stay dead? I mean, maybe if these movies were being made by Naughty Dog, then I might believe it, but they're not, so... Now Wonder Woman is in London fighting some reactionary terrorists, and here's the thing, why did Wonder Woman say, "The lasso of hepatitis compels you to tell the truth"? I mean, I get that it's more for the benefit of the audience, but in the context of the scene, it's like, wouldn't he just have told the truth anyway? I mean, how dumb do they think their audience is that you can't understand why a man dangling from a golden glowing rope is going to feel compelled to tell the truth regardless of any magical powers the rope may have? And apparently the lasso doesn't even work all that well because when Wonder Woman asks, why the children, he doesn't actually answer the question now, does he? But anyway, when the leader sets the bomb, there's 20 seconds on the clock. About 16 seconds later, there's 12 seconds remaining. And around 23 seconds, there's 6 seconds left on the clock. By the time Wonder Woman grabs the bomb, it's about 28 seconds. And by the time it explodes, it's 34 seconds later. All this to say, obviously Wonder Woman can time travel. So now we get introduced to Fishman, and it's done in a way like Bruce doesn't really know who he is, so he refers to him as a stranger. But there's one guy way too tense to be from Iceland, he speaks with an American accent, plus they got hieroglyphs of him on the walls, so it's like, what was the point of being all secretive? Anyway, Batman tries to recruit Fishman, but Fishman is acting like a 12-year-old that just wants to sit in his room and play FIFA all day. People tell me to do this, now you tell me to do that, I just want to be left alone. But then Fishman takes off his shirt and, you know, I can't lie, that man's buff. I mean, I'm just saying, I think I know why mums go to Iceland, you know what I mean? That's a man right there. Oh, sorry, let me get one of the rest of the video. Barry Allen is next, and Barry is as quick as a flash and can draw spectacles on people's faces really fast because I bet you didn't see that coming. He goes to visit his dad in prison, his dad tells him to stop coming to see him and more or less tells him that he's really disappointed in the person that he's become. I mean, not in those words, but pretty much. And now, Victor Stone. Victor Stone gets introduced last, and gee, I wonder why. Anyway, turns out the guy from Terminator 2 didn't die in that explosion, he lived, but didn't heed the lessons of Judgment Day and eventually turned his own son into a cybernetic organism, living tissue of a metal endoskeleton. Well, not exactly, but close. Right, now the plot of the movie is that there were these 3 boxes that were way too powerful to be kept together because this dude called Stephen Wolf wanted to reshape the world. So a long time ago, after a fierce battle, they gave 1 box to the Amazons to look after, 1 box to the Atlanteans, and 1 box to normal people to bury. Probably would have been best to not keep all the boxes on one planet though, but All was well until one day the boxes started twitching and Steven comes back to claim what he thinks is rightfully his. The world. Now Steven first goes for the Amazon's box because for a secret hidden island, Themyscira is really easy to find. Dude just turns up and takes it. I mean, they try to stop him, they run away with the box, but they're on an island they supposedly can't leave. Where exactly are they running to? And also that bit where Queen Hippolyta slides under the door, she has no cuts on her skin, no damage or wrinkling on her clothes. Between this and the Wonder Woman movie, it's clear these women don't break easily and age slowly, so why aren't they just all walking around naked? I'm just saying, it will make sense. But anyway, this whole scene could have been avoided had Steven just paid extra for the Amazon Prime delivery. Would have had that box the next day. Alright, now the main thing about the movie is that Batman has to bring together a group of remarkable people, see if they could become something more, see if they can work together when we need them to fight the battles we never could. He already tried Fishman, who said no, but Batman never actually asks Wonder Woman to join because she's a woman and giving women agency in movies is so Patty Jenkins. But of course Diana is part of the team because she wants to protect the Earth. And they needed her to recruit Victor Stone because a rich white man asking a young black boy to come with him and risk his life wouldn't have been a good look. Instead, rich white man asks poor Jewish boy to risk his life, or rather, Bruce Wayne breaks into Barry Allen's apartment with the intention of asking him, but Flash says yes before he's even asked because he needs friends, doesn't understand societal norms, and thinks people are slow. He might actually be on the spectrum, but that doesn't stop Bruce from taking advantage of a young boy's yearning for the father figure he felt robbed of. And considering Bruce didn't know what Barry's ability was, when he threw that bat ninja star, he could have just killed him. Batman is kind of an arsehole in this. Wonder Woman tries to recruit Victor Stone, but he doesn't join them because she's a woman and nobody listens to women. Fishman rescues a man from the ocean, someone he calls Ahab, which by the way is a reference to a character in a book. If you know the name of the book, put it in the comments and I'll give you a clue. It's a story about a group of men who go in search of a special sperm. Anyway, Ahab is covered in some weird green stuff and Fishman realizes that something is not quite right because it wasn't there 10 seconds ago, and how come it didn't wash off in the rain, and how come it's on his hands but none of it is on his shoulders? So he grabs a bottle of whiskey, downs it like a professional alcoholic and smashes it into the sea. I mean, for a protector of the ocean, sure doesn't seem to care much about environmental issues. Fishman goes back to Atlantis, but it's too late. Steven has already attacked and beat up everyone, including Fishman, then swims away with the box. Mira gives a speech to Fishman, something about she knew his mother and what his mother would do, but to be honest, I wasn't really paying attention because fuck what Amber heard. Now Steven only has one box left to collect and he sends his minions out to find it. So they kidnap Victor's dad because they needed a reason to bring Victor back into the story. I mean, the Fairbugs would kidnap his Star Labs employees from 21 minutes into the movie, but they wait until now to get the boss in his home? If they can smell the mother box, then him and Victor should have been the first ones to be attacked, since Victor's dad was using the mother box to turn Victor into a cyborg because clearly he has not learnt his lesson from Terminator 2. In fact, if they can smell the mother box, why don't they just sniff out the mother box? And by the way, the Daily Bugle must have fallen on some hard times after Spider-Man 3 because J. Jonah Jameson is a police commissioner now? Oh, and buttshot because respect women. So now they go looking for Victor's dad and the other kidnappees and they fight Steven and his minions with a Nightcrawler. Flash saves people by grabbing them and running out really fast, and amazingly, not a single one gets whiplash or electrocuted. There's a bit where Flash saves Wonder Woman from a falling bridge and he ends up right on top of her and gets up really quick because he's all embarrassed, and we learn the real reason his suit is made from silica-based quartz sand fabric is so you don't see his boner through it. The fight ends when they almost get drowned because firing rockets underneath a harbour proved to be a terrible idea, but Fishman shows up at the last minute to save the day and then Cyborg goes to get the mother box. Batman has the bright idea to use the box to bring Superman back to life because meddling with dead Kryptonians always turns out so well. There's a protest, but they still resurrect him. Now here's the thing, Superman died with a massive hole in his chest, so where is that? And why is it when he came back to life his jacket and shirt disappeared but his trousers stayed on? Superman should have his cock out right now. I'm just saying, it will make sense. Anyway, Superman wakes up and Cyborg tries to kill him because he couldn't control himself. They all fight Superman, but Batman shows up last to finally clear up the mess that he made by bringing in the big guns, which turned out to be Lois Lane. So just a quick recap. Batman brought a dead alien back to life, lets others fight the superpowered alien, and then brought in the alien's girlfriend as emotional manipulation. Yeah, Batman's kind of an arsehole in this. So while our heroes were squabbling, Stephen snuck in and took the last mother box. Now he's free to see through his diabolical plan, unless the mighty men and Bruce could stop him. Batman tries to get rid of the fear bugs. He was going to go alone, but Wonder Woman realized he was too stupid to pull it off, so she commanded the rest of the team to help him fight the bugs. Fishman gets into a mid-air tussle and falls, but Cyborg saves him and Fishman says, "My man," because they get past the fear bugs and start fighting with Stephen. Cyborg tries to separate the boxes. Flash goes to save some civilians. Batman helps out a little bit, I guess. But in short, they're losing. And that's when Superman shows up and Fishman says, "Alright, which just made this the greatest movie of all time. Don't at me." Superman fights with Stephen, then has a bromance moment with Batman, goes to save some civilians, has a chat with Flash while both moving fast. And would Flash really be able to hear what Superman was saying since they both gotta be traveling faster than the speed of sound? Comic book nerds can help me out with that one. Anyway, Superman rescues the civvies, goes back to fight Stephen, then helps Cyborg separate the boxes and jokes about wanting to die, fights with Stephen some more, freeze breaths Stephen's axe so Wonder Woman can break it. Stephen gets scared and the fear bugs turn against him while he gets banished back to somewhere through a portal that somebody opened. Cyborg says "Booyah" because, and then all the brave warriors and Bruce stand in victory. The movie ends with Martha Kent getting a house back from the bank because Bruce Wayne bought the bank. Now, I've never bought a bank, but I'm pretty sure it's not something you can do overnight, so is this like 2 years in the future or something? Flash goes to see his dad to tell him he's got a job, completely ignoring the fact that his dad told him to never come see him again, but his dad's no longer disappointed in him, so that's nice. Lois Lane gets the exclusive and writes about light and dark. Bruce Wayne scouts property. Cyborg hangs out with his dad, who still hasn't learned his lesson from Terminator 2. Fishman goes for a swim. Diana solves crime. There's a mid-credit scene where Flash and Superman race to see who's faster, even though we already know from earlier in the movie that Superman is faster, so pretty pointless really. Plus, not exactly a fair test if Superman is flying. And then there's a post-credit scene where Lex Luthor escapes prison to hire Deathstroke for a movie that never got made. Alright, now before I get into my final thoughts, if you liked this movie, check out these movies. They're all based on DC Comics and they all suck, but still a better love story than Twilight. So here's the thing, yeah, this movie has a lot of issues, which I think mostly stem from trying to do what Marvel did with 11 years and 17 movies with 5 years and 5 movies. In fact, you can even draw similarities in the characters and the story. Man dressed in black puts together a team. Rich white guy with no actual superpowers. Man made with the power of an ancient artifact. Alien creatures searching for ancient artifacts. One or both missing parents coming back from the dead. Super fast guy sneaks into high security building, which technically wasn't MCU, but since Disney own it all now anyway, I'm including it. It's like if you imagine the Marvel movies condensed into 2 hours and remove effective storytelling and character development, that's what Justice League is. And even if you don't compare it to the MCU, it's just inconsistent. Like the fear bugs are attracted to fear, which is why they all turned on Stephen at the end. But throughout the film, they're shown to be taking orders from Stephen and operating machinery, which means they have some level of cognition. So why would they just turn on their boss just because he had a little moment, especially when he created them? And how come they couldn't smell the Flash's fear before they rescued the kidnapped folk from underneath the harbour? Plus the action scenes, you have some really cool fast-paced action sequences, and then others are just slow. And this isn't me adding a slow motion effect, this is how slow it is. And what's the point of bringing up the fact that the fear bugs look like Batman if that never actually plays into the story? Likewise, what's the point of bringing up the fact that the Flash burns a tremendous amount of calories and yet he literally only eats one slice of pizza throughout the entire film? But even with everything this film does wrong, I think there is still a message they were trying to convey, and it's about leadership. It was Bruce Wayne's idea to put the team together, and he is portrayed as the leader of the group, but he's really only the leader they deserve, but not the one they need, because the one they need is Diana. Bruce was supposed to ask Diana to join, but doesn't because I think he fancied her and was too embarrassed or whatever, but she shows up anyway after getting a message that Amazon sends, which really means this would have been a much different movie had Wonder Woman been on a toilet break when the news was on. But anyway, it shows that Diana is able to put aside ego and go to someone who can help when needed. Also, her approach to recruiting Cyborg was a lot more compassionate than Bruce's approach to recruiting Flash, mainly because she didn't force her way into his property and try to kill him. She gave him space at the lake, met at a place of his choosing, and attempted to connect on a personal level. Now you might be thinking, but but that way didn't work because Cyborg just left. True, but what she didn't do was press the matter. She continued as if he may not come, but welcomed him when he did, because part of leadership is understanding that people need to be able to do things in their own time, which is why later when she's asking Cyborg to look for the mother box and tells him that if he goes under they'll pull him out, he trusts her. Another trait about Diana is that she doesn't want to lead. She understands the gravity of leadership and that people can and likely will die under your command, and that's not something to take lightly. Now compare that to Stephen. He wants to rule because he believes the world is rightfully his, but doesn't seem to have any real policies on what exactly he wants to do with his ruling, and yet insists that they will all love him. Pure arrogance and delusion. Now I'm not saying that's a reference to any real life world leaders, I'm just saying, this movie came out in 2017. And that is what I think of Justice League. What do you think? Justice or just ice? Let me know down below, and while you're there, be sure to like, subscribe, and drop a suggestion if you don't mind.